ओम शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। ओम. Dear friends, welcome to the study of the Yoga Sutras. In the last class, we studied Sutra number 15 and 16, which talked about two levels of Vairagya. One was the lower level of Vairagya, and the other is the higher level of Vairagya. Why are they called the lower and higher? Because in the lower level, the main word was Vashikara Sanya. That is, you have taken into control the Indriyas, taken into control the mind. And that sutra that was about basically it talks about a vairagyam, that vashikara prakara buddhi, vashikara sanya means buddhi. And why was it called? Basically, you are attaining what Vedanta calls the iha amutra phala bhoga viraga. That is drushta anushravika vishaya vitrushna. That is dispassion for those things which are seen in the world and those which are described in the text regarding the other world. So we have developed a dispassion. So that is something which it is a conscious control. It is a conscious control of the mind and conscious training of the mind. But then there is no Atma Vichara there. In the Paravairagya, in the next, that is 16th Sutra, that is the Paravairagya, it talks about Tat Param Purushakhyate Gunavaitrushnyam, something like that it said. Tat Param Purushakhyate Gunavaitrushnyam. Purushakhyate Anantaram Yat Jayate Tat Vairagyam. Purushakhyate Anantaram is after knowing, not realizing. There is a difference between knowing and realizing, both in Vedanta and also in Yoga. Knowing is knowing at a theoretical level. Realizing is actually feeling, actually experiencing. Yes, when the Guru says, Tom Tattvamasi, I am supposed to feel. If I don't feel, if I only accept it at an intellectual level, and I have not yet brought into my realization or experience, then that is that intellectual knowledge is only at a lower level. That is what is called Paroksha Jnanam in Vedanta. So here, Purushakhyate Gunavaitrushnyam is that level of indirect knowledge, that level of knowledge of that Purusha, the reality of that Purusha, but he has not yet experienced. So this apara, it is the higher Vairagyam, is something which is also associated with Satvika Buddhi, associated with the the knowledge of the distinction between Purusha and Sattva, that is consciousness and matter. So that sort of, that is what we saw. So these two levels of Vairagya we saw. Now, these two levels of Vairagya, where exactly are they leading? These two levels, this Vairagya, where are they leading? Again, we are talking about two levels of Samadhi. Today, I think we will see these two sutras, 17 and 18, which talk about two levels of Samadhi. There was a reference to these two levels in the very beginning also, that is Samprajñata, Asamprajñata. In the very beginning also, Vyasa, that is commentator, he made a reference to these two. So let us see, I will now share the text. You may be now seeing the text. So this is that earlier sutra. The earlier sutra which talked about Tat Param Purushakhyate Gunavaitrushnyam. That is Gunavaitrushnyam, that which we saw, Drushta Anushravika Vishaya Doshadarshi, etc., etc. Jnanasyaiva Parakashtha Vairagyam. So that is what we saw. Yetasyaiva Hinantariyakam Kaivalyam. So Kaivalyam is something which is not different from this. Once he gets it, once he realizes it, right now he knows it intellectually. So that is the Paravairagyam. So then, Atha Upayadvayena. Now we have to go to the 17th Sutra. For the 17th Sutra, there is a small Avatarika line. Avatarika line is, so today I have done some homework, more homework, and then I have also translated even the Vyasa Bhashya for the benefit of the students. So, Atha Upayadvayena Niruddha Chitta Vruttehe Kathamuchyate Samprajñata Samadhiriti. So, Atha, now, Upayadvayena Niruddha Chitta Vruttehe. that is Niruddha Chitta Vritti is referring to a person, not to Chitta Vritti. Niruddha Chitta Vrittayah Yena Athava Yasya Sa Niruddha Chitta Vritti. So we have to take like that Vigraha Vakyam. So Upaya Dvayena, by means of these two Upayas. What are the Upayas? The Apara Vairagyam and Para Vairagyam. Lower Vairagya and Apara Vairagya. With these two, by these two levels, he has achieved both the levels. So we have to take like that. He has achieved those two levels. And Niruddha Chitta Vritte. Katham Uchyate Samprajnata Samadhi. So what type of Samprajnata Samadhi will take place? What type of Samadhi will take place? Initially this Samprajnata. The second level is Asamprajnata. So what type of Samprajnata Samadhi will happen to that person? Then we see the Sutra. Vitarka Vichara Anandasmita Rupanugamat Samprajnataha. Vitarka Vichara Anandasmita Rupanugamat Samprajnataha. In my text, there is a small difference. Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmitanugamat, my text says. My text is, I was referring to this Patanjali Yoga Sutram, this text. But then this content which I am showing to you, I copied from that website KMY Yoga Vaisharadi. There may be some slight difference in words. So this is Rupa Asmita Rupa Anugamat, because many people may be following that KMY Yoga Vaisharadi. So that is why I have taken it as it is. So Vitarka Vichara. So these words also we saw in the very beginning. We saw in the Vyasa Bhashya. He made a very brief reference. Vitarka. Vyasa is going to explain here also. But right now let us see the meaning of these words. Vitarka. Vitarka is, that is mind contemplating on the gross elements. The gross elements we know, that is Prithvi, Apaha, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha, we know that is earth, water, fire, air and space. So the sadhaka, he contemplates on the nature of these things and contemplates on his own nature and tries to connect how exactly he is related to them. My body-mind complex is not something different from these five Panchabhutas. So that type of dwelling or contemplating on the nature of Panchabhutas and also identifying with them. So that is at that level it is called Vitarka. Then Vichara. Vichara is something where the mind dwells on, or rather mind identifies with the subtle bhutas. I will also explain to you what exactly is the subtle bhuta. I will explain to you shortly. That is the same with the gross elements before they physically appear, before they are physically felt. We call them gross when we are able to cognize them with our five senses. We call them subtle when we cannot cognize them with our five senses. So that is the only difference. Subtle is something, in Sanskrit we call it Sukshma. Sukshma is something which cannot be known by the senses. Sthula, gross is something which can be known by the senses. So this second level is Vichara. Then the third level is Ananda. And Ananda happens, that is Sukham, Dukkham, etc. What is this word? What are these words? Sukham and Dukkham. Kham means Indriya. Kham means Indriya. Sukham means something which is good to the Indriyas. And Ananda, mind, it is the mind in the body-mind complex. Where exactly is the Sukham, Dukkham known? It is only in the Indriyas and the mind. So the person from that level, from the level of gross, he moves to subtle, and again from subtle to he moves to something which is subtler, we can say. So the more subtle, that is which dwells on the sense organs and the mind also. And Asmita. Asmita is something which is dwells on the awareness of self. This word Asmita, we have to be careful. This Asmita in this sutra, it is used in a positive sense. It is used in the positive sense, referring to what is called Ahankara. Even Ahankara, it is used both in the positive sense and also in the negative sense. But here it is used in the positive sense. Whereas the same word Asmita is also used in another sutra in the second Adhyaya, where Patanjali talks about what are called kleshas. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha, Pancha Klesha. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha and Abhinivesha are the five kleshas he is going to say. Klesha means they are the obstacles. So here it is not like he is talking in a totally neutral sense. Asmita is that awareness of self. Oh, now you see these 3, 4 levels. If we are seeing four levels, if you are seeing avidya, yeah, vitarka, vichara, ananda, asmita. Yeah, 4 levels when you are seeing. If you just try to compare with the Vedanta language. So in vitarka, we are doing panchabhuta viveka. In vichara, we are doing the what is this indriyas and no subtle. That is also panchabhuta viveka only at a subtle level. Then Ananda level. This Ananda level, we have come to what is called the Manomaya Kosha. Ananda level, we have come to what is this Manomaya Kosha. This is senses, sense organs, and the mind. And Asmita, we have come to the level of that what is called that cosmic self. And beyond that cosmic self is what is that real Purusha, or what is called that Brahman awareness. So right now we are coming very, very close to what is called that supreme reality, what is called Purusha in yoga, and what is called Brahman in Vedanta. So this Asmita is that level. Then Asmita Rupa Anugamat. Anugama is identification. By such identification, Samprajnato nama samadhihi. Samprajnataha means Samprajnato nama samadhihi bhavati. We have to do some pada purnam. We have to fill the line. Sanama samadhihi bhavati. Athava nama samadhihi uchyate. Whatever you want. So these 4 types of Samprajnata samadhi, they result when the mind gets absorbed in the gross bhutas, or in the subtle bhutas, or in the senses, or in the nature of ego or self. Ego, that is self. So here this asmita, asmi means I am. Asmita is that I amness. That is what simply we have to remember. So asmita is that awareness of self. You have gone beyond this, okay, I am not the body mind, I am not this body, I am not the subtle body, I am not even the mind, I am something which is above that mind. So we are slightly moving from gross to subtle, gross to subtle. So that is it. So now here we need a small background about this Sankhya theory of evolution, because we are coming across these words. I told you I will explain what is called this subtle element, etc. So I just drew some sort of what is this? Some sort of chart. So this Purusha is something which is equivalent to our Brahman, Vedanta Brahman. The only difference between Vedanta Brahman and Purusha is in Vedanta Brahma it does not have Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva. Here Purusha has Bhoktrutva. Purusha is the person, Purusha, he enjoys what all is there in the Prakriti. Prakriti is like a dancer. Like if you see Ishvara Krishna's Sankhya Karika, which of course, which is also the philosophy, not theological, which is the philosophical background for this Yoga Sutra. So there, Prakriti is like a dancer. Shailushiva. Shailushi means a dancer. So like a dancer, this Prakriti is dancing and the Purusha is enjoying. So that is a sort of we can say, picturization, let us say, some sort of metaphor, which these people also, they indulge in now and then. So this Prakriti actually is Strilinga. The word Prakriti is Strilinga and Purusha is Pumlinga. So that is the reason why we have got this picture of Ardhanarishwara. Ardhanarishwara representing Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti and Purusha, and without Prakriti there is no fun, let us say. That is Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum. What is the next line? Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum. Okay, suddenly I forget anyway. Nashaktah Prabhavitum Abhi, something like that it comes. So Prakriti is that a dancer. So this Prakriti is what is manifesting in so many ways. In Vedanta, we say that Brahma is not undergoing any type of change. Here also Purusha is not undergoing any type of change. In Brahma, there is a manifesting power, what we call Maya. So this Prakriti is what is called the equivalent of Maya. So that is why when we read Bhagavad Gita, we use this word Prakriti as a sort of synonym for Maya. Prakriti, we use it as a synonym for that. Then Drukka Drushya. This is the Druk and this is the Drishyam. Druk, this is the seer, and this is the Drishyam. This is Kshetrajna and this is Kshetram. So these are the equivalent words. So Prakriti, this first thing is Mahat. Mahat, we can how to define that Mahat. In Vedanta, what we call that Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb, as we say. The golden womb from which all, why is it called a golden womb? Because all the evolutes are from that Prakriti, from that Hiranyagarbha Tattva, as we say. From that, all the things which evolve. So then this, from this Hiranyagarbha, this notion of I, what we call Ishvara as the cosmic self, and that cosmic self, that I, the first notion of I happens here. The first notion of I happens at this level. Aham, aham. Then all our individual ahams, all the individuated consciousness, as we say, all the individuated consciousness is like Vispulinga as per Vedanta. All this from this ahankara only, we derive our small ego. This all this from this only, all our individual egos are like the Vispulinga. All these small Vispulinga is when a huge fire is there, there are sparklings. There are some sparklings, etc. So we are like those sparklings. So from this ahankara, smita or ahankara, there are three evolutes from this. That is sattva is one, rajas is one, tamas is one. Sattva, rajas, and tamoguna. They are actually not the properties. They are not the properties. They are actually called, they are called the constituents of Prakriti. They are the constituents of Prakriti. And sattva is something which is manifesting, and these three gunas, they manifest in all the beings, not only human beings, but in both animate and inanimate, in all entities, in all vastus. That is in the entire universe, whatever we see, whether it is sentient or insentient, everything is a combination of these three gunas. It is a combination of these three gunas and innumerable proportions. We do not know how many, what is mathematically, how many we can arrive at. So if Sattva Guna 0 to 100 scale, Rajo Guna 0 to 100 scale, Tamo Guna 0 to 100 scale, and if we mix, some student of mathematics will be able to say how many, what will be the innumerable, say that what will be the maximum number of, say proportions. So they combine in innumerable proportions, and they manifest in the human beings, they manifest in animals, they manifest in the food we eat, they manifest in all inanimate things also which we see. So that is what it is. And from sattva, if you see, the sense organs and the mind, they originate from the sattva. These five bhutas are there. These five panchabhutas are there. From the five tanmatras, the five tanmatras are also, they do have this sattva, rajas, tamoguna component. This sattva guna, rajas, tamoguna component. In fact, there is a complicated drawing. I have to draw this sattva also. It has to go there. So these sattvas, rajas, and tamoguna, they are present in these five tanmatras. So the sattva component of fire, the sattva component of fire gives rise to my indriya called I, because my eye is able to see the tejas or fire. Fire doesn't mean let us see fire. Let us limit it to light only right now. That fire aspect will come to sparsha. So this light, that is Prithivyapaha Tejaha, Teja is light. That Tejas, Tanmatra, is responsible for my eye. My eye is transformed. There is no difference between the Tejas and the eye. That is the reason why I can only see Tejas, and my nose can only smell, that is Prithvi, and my Rasanendriya, my tongue, can only taste, that is water or that whatever is the taste, Rasanendriya. Then similarly, Vayu, Sparsha. Sparsha is something which is associated with the skin, Tvagindriya. So like that, the five Indriyas, each Indriya can see only one element, whereas the mind can notice all the five elements. It is like a sort of processor which processes the entire information brought from all the five senses. So the Sattva Guna, from this Sattva Guna, the five senses, Sattva Guna of all these five tanmatras, this five sense organs and the mind. Then from this Rajo Guna, five motor organs. Motor organs are Vak, Pani, Chakshu, that is Chakshus, what is that? Say hand, Hasta, Pada, then Payu, Upasta, that is what, these are the five motor organs. Motor organs and also the prana. Of course, prana is not mentioned in the yoga system, but then prana is also mentioned in Vedanta. This prana, it is actually from the Rajoguna, Rajas element of this Rajas element. Then from this Tamoguna, from this Tamoguna again, these five Tanmatras and five Grasa Bhutas. What are these tanmatras? Now we have come to this word tanmatra. Tat plus matram. Tanmatram. Tat plus matram is tanmatram. That is, if suppose you take only fire. Teja tanmatram. Teja tanmatram is only fire and nothing else. So Pruthivi tanmatram. Pruthivi and nothing else. So similarly, Akasha tanmatram. Akasha only and nothing else. So when they are only tanmatras, 100% only tanmatra in the initial stage, tanmatras only, then they cannot be cognized by the senses. So what happens is, there is what is called, there is a small prakriya which is, it is again a hypothesis by both the philosophers, by Vedantins and also by yogins and all these people. So this hypothesis is, these 5 tanmatras, they come into, they mix in a particular proportion. Of course, there is also a formula for that. I will not go into that. So if you want to see that, you can know about Panchikaranam. If you see Google search Panchikaranam or do something like that, you will get a sutra from Vidyaranya's Panchadashi or from some other text, and that the Panchikaranam text itself is there. So that Panchatam, these 5 tanmatras, they mix in a particular proportion. Then all the 5 elements are there in that. Suppose I take fire. That fire has 50% of fire, and the remaining 50%, the 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 of, not 1/4, 1/12, 1/12, 1/12 of the remaining 4 elements. So that means this is a half, and the other thing becomes a half. So something like that. So in that way, the 5 gross elements, they are formed. And these 5 gross elements we are able to perceive. So tentatively, let us understand like that. Tan matram is that only. Matra, we know the word matra. You see, matram is only. Tan matra, that alone. And when they mix in these proportions, they become seen, they become visible, they become perceivable by the senses. So they become gross. So this is tentatively, let us have this particular chart. So here the same chart I have explained. Then now Indriyas evolved from Asmita. Now this sutra, did we see? Yeah, we saw this sutra, Vitarka Vichara, we saw this sutra, and also we saw this Prakriti, this thing. Now let us see this Bhashyam. This Bhashyam also for your benefit, I have, and also for my benefit, I have also done the translation. This Vitarkaha Chittasya Alambane Sthula Abhogaha. In fact, the word samprajnata also we can explain. Samprajnata. Jnata means known. Jna dhatu is knowing. K-N-O-W, know is same as jna. So then samyak, and also samshayadi rahitatvena. Commentary says samshayadi rahitatvena, without any sort of doubt. Then prakarshena, that means purnataya, fully. Samyak prakarshena, that is fully and very well and fully known. What is known there? The dhyaya vastu. In this samprajnata level, what is it we are seeing? There is a dhyaya vastu. In all these 4 levels, there is what is called an object of contemplation. So that is what we saw. Vitarka level, there is one. Vichara level, there is one. Ananda level, Asmita level, there is different objects of identification or contemplation. So Vitarka is meditation on Vitarkaha. Chittasya alambane Sthula abhogaha. Alambana means what? Alambana means support. Narasimham avadehesu, Lakshmi Narasimham avadehe, Karavalambam, we say avalambam. Avalambam is gives a handholding, support. Alambana, Sthulasya abhogaha. Sthula is that gross. Abhoga is actually what does he say? Identification. Abhoga is identification. Abhoga, he says, the commentator says, Abhogaha paripurna sakshatkaraha. Vajasvata Mishra says, Abhogaha is sakshatkaraha. That means identifying with the gross bhutas. My body, not mind complex. I am, because he is still at the body level only. He has not yet gone to the mind, etc. So I am not different from these 5 bhutas. This is somewhat like Panchabhuta Viveka Dhyanam. Then the second level is Sukshmaha Vicharaha. Sukshma is that next one. Vichara is Sukshmaha. Sukshmo Vicharaha. Sukshma is the adjective for Vichara. So this Vicharanugata Samprajnata, when we say Vitarka, the full name is Vitarkanugata Samprajnataha. When we say Vichara, we have to know Vicharanugata Samprajnataha. Similarly, Anandanugata Samprajnataha. Again, Asmitanugata Samprajnataha. So this is these are the full names. Sukshma Vicharaha means this Vicharanugata Samprajnata, this Samprajnata level which is called Vichara, is subtle. Subtle means it is meditation on the subtle elements. It is contemplation on the subtle elements. Then Anando Hladaha. Ananda, the Anandanugata Samprajnata, the Samprajnata which is called Ananda, that is Hlada. That is meditation on the Hlada. Where is this Ahladam? Sukham, Indriya, and also in the mind. After all, we enjoy Sukha or Dukkha only in the mind. So this Ananda is meditation on the 10 Indriyas and the mind and their nature, how they are derived and all that. Then Asmita, Ekatmika Samvit Asmita. This is important. Ekatmika Samvit. Samvit means knowledge. Samvit Asmita. If you join them, it becomes Samvid Asmita. Ekatmika Samvit. Samvit is Strilinga. So that is why we say Ekatmika Samvit. So what do they say for that? Ekatmika Samvid Asmita. The actual way, the meaning is Ekatmika Samvit. That is the knowledge of oneness. Eka means one. Ekatmika Samvit means the knowledge of oneness of Purusha and the self. So at an intellectual level, at a theoretical level, by listening to Shastra and by what if we want to use the words in Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc. So at that level, Shravana level, we are now talking about the Shravana level only. Shravana may be Manana also, not at Nididhyasana. So this Purusha, this knowledge of oneness of Purusha and the self, I am not different from that Purusha. So this is the distinction he knows. Oh, this body-mind complex is not my real nature. My real nature is the Purusha. So that level is Asmita. So it is not at the state of realization. But this Asmitanugata Samprajnata is the highest state in Samprajnata. Asmitanugata Samprajnata is the highest state in Samprajnata. So that is what we have to see. Tatra Prathamaha Chatushthayanugataha Samadhihi Savitarkaha. Tatra Prathamaha. Now he is again examining, he is giving some more details about this Savitarka, Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, etc. What is this? Prathamaha Chatushthayanugata Samadhi Savitarkaha. That is Chatushtaya Anugataha. This first one, which is this Vitarka, Chatushtaya Anugataha, which is also associated, with all the four. Though it is mentioned as Savitarka, at the back of the mind, there is some thought about what is called subtle elements, what is called Ananda, and what is called Asmita. So it is not as though he is totally at that primary level. He is having them also in the mind, but they are secondary. So that is the point. He is still at the beginning level. The first one, Vitarka, it focuses on the gross elements, but the remaining three are also there. They are also there, present as secondary. That is what we have to see. So the first form, though it is associated with Chatushthayanugataha, means associated with all the four. In fact, I could have written all that also, because that makes a complete translation. Chatushthayanugataha. Chatushtayam means Dushta Chatushtayam, we know. Chatushtayam means the group of four. Chatushthayanugataha means associated with all the four. Tatra Prathamaha Chatushthayanugataha. It is associated with all the four. That is what is called Savitarka. Associated means, though the primary focus is on the five elements, these other things are also there at the secondary level, Gauna, as we say. So that is, the commentator says, Gauna Rupa. Chatushthayanugataha. That is Gauna Rupena Avasthitaha. Then the Dvitiya. Dvitiya is Vitarka Vikalaha Savicharaha. Dvitiyaha Savicharaha. The second one, which is called Savichara. Dvitiyaha Savicharaha. That is the second one, which is called Savichara. Vichara level of Samprajnata Samadhi is Vitarka Vikalaha. So he has discarded that first one. Vikala means Rahita. Vitarka Rahitaha. He has discarded that first one. And then he has come to that next level, Vitarka. Tarka actually, what does it mean? Tarka is actually means thinking. Tarka is logika, that is thinking and logically thinking about something. So vitarka vikalaha. The second one, it leaves out vitarka and focuses on the subtle. So that vitarka level he has passed. He has, it is like from primary class, he has come to say from 5th class, he has come to 6th class. So something like that. And he need not refer to the books of the 5th class or third class. So the focus is on the subtle. So the next two levels are secondary. Next two levels are also there here. And the same analogy, Chatushthayanugataha. We saw this Chatushthayanugataha. The first one, Vitarka, is associated with all the four. The second one, Savichara, is associated with three. It leaves out the first one only, Vitarka Vikalaha. So that is what is the meaning here. Ananda and Asmita are also there as secondary. Then Trutiyaha, Vichara Vikalaha, Sanandaha. Trutiyaha Sanandaha. Sananda Samprajnata Samadhi. That one is Vichara Vikalaha. So that Vichara level also is dropped off. So it is associated with only two. The first one is associated with all the four. Second one is with three. The third one is associated with only two. That is this one and the next higher level. Trutiyaha Vichara Vikalaha, that is devoid of Vichara. Vichara Rahitaha, that is Vichara is also dropped off. And this one is leaves out Vitarka. The third one which leaves out Vitarka, not Vitarka, Vichara. It should be Vichara. So I have to type it as Vichara. Okay. Vichara is Ananda. So this leaves out the earlier two and focuses on the Indriyas and mind. This leaves out the earlier two means it leaves out both Vichara and also Vitarka. And it focuses only on the Indriya and mind. But at the back, that Ananda, this is the other one also is there. Then Asmita also is there at the back. Then Chaturthaha, Tadvikalaha, Asmita Matra iti. Chaturtha, the fourth level, what is that fourth level? That is Asmita. Asmita is knowledge of the self. Asmita is that knowledge of the self that, okay, my body-mind complex is not me. I am not different from that Purusha. He is knowing at an intellectual level. So, Chaturthaha, Tadvikalaha. Tadvikala means Ananda Vikalaha. Earlier one was Vichara Vikala. Prior to that, earlier one was Vitarka Vikala. So, Vitarka Vikala, Vitarka is left off. Vichara Vikala, Vikara is left off. Then the fourth one, Tad Vikalaha means even that Ananda level also is left off. So that is the fourth one which leaves out this Ananda also is Asmita Matra. Asmita Matra means only Asmita. It is mere Asmita and all other things are dropped off. So he is having that primary awareness. He is having that awareness. Yes, my nature is this. Then all these are samadhis. Yeah. Sarva yete means sarve yete. In the samadhi, sandhi, it becomes sarva. Sarva ete, salambana samadhayaha. That is, these are the samadhis where this alambana, dhyaya vastu is there. Dhyaya vastu is the object of contemplation that is very much present. Then, yeah, here the sutra ends. So then there is a small, what is this, avatarika for the next sutra. Atha asamprajnata samadhihi kim upayaha kim svabhavaha va iti. Asamprajnata. Now, asamprajnata. The next level is, the higher level is asamprajnata, isn't it? That kim upayaha. Kim upayaha means what are the means, what is the way in which to achieve it, what is the manner in which we can achieve, what are the plans, and kim svabhavaha, what is its nature. Then the sutra says, Virama pratyaya abhyasa purvaha samskara shesho anyaha. This thing, let me see whether I have forgotten anything. In the earlier sutra, yeah, I compared with Vedanta. From Annamaya to, they say Manomaya we came, and from Manomaya we came to Ananda Maya Kosha also we came. And also theoretical knowledge. So to that level we saw in that earlier sutra. So now we are coming to Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purvaha Samskara Sheshaha Anyaha. Anyaha. Let us break it into words. Virama pratyaya abhyasa purvaha samskara sheshaha anyaha. Anyaha means the other one. The other one means we talked about samprajnata. The other one means asamprajnata. Anyaha means the asamprajnata. So this asamprajnata, what are the adjectives for that? Virama pratyaya abhyasa purvaha. That is one adjective. Virama pratyaya abhyasa purvaha is one adjective. Samskara sheshaha is another adjective. So what is the virama pratyaya abhyasa purvaha? So this abhyasa has to be a prerequisite. That for which the abhyasa is a prerequisite. What type of abhyasa? The higher level of higher level of vairagya. The higher level of vairagya is the prerequisite for this asamprajnata samadhi. It is not the lower level. Lower level is only yamana yama. What is that? That vashikara sanya. Vashikara sanya is the lower level. That is not enough. After that vashikara sanya, he has to go to that school and then he has to do some shravana, manana, etc. So only then that is that virama pratyaya. So for this virama pratyaya, the explanation is given by Vachaspati Mishra. In fact, my book also follows Vachaspati Mishra's commentary, though it quotes all other things also. Virama pratyaya means viramasya pratyayaha. Virama actually means that is the cessation of all, say, vrittis. Virama is cessation. Virama is sakala vrittinam uparamaha. That is cessation of all the vrittis called virama. Viram, we know that viram. Virama samayam we say. Virama is where everything is stopped and then you are relaxing. So that is virama. Virama is here cessation of all vrittis. That is called that is virama. Tasya pratyayaha. Tasya pratyayaha, for this word pratyaya there are different meanings. Pratyaya, depending on the context, it also means knowledge. It means awareness. So here the meaning taken is karanam. Viramasya karanam. The karanam for higher dispassion. The karanam, what is the karanam for this virama? What is the karanam for cessation of all activities? Paravairagyam. Paravairagyam, that higher vairagyam, is the cause for cessation of all vrittis. That is the point. Virama pratyaya is this higher dispassion, which is the cause for cessation of all vrittis. So this has to be practiced. So tasya abhyasaha purvam yasya saha. So that is the entire thing. Virama pratyaya abhyasa purvaha is a big samasa. That is bahuvrihi samasa. If you take that bahuvrihi samasa and break it into that, put a vigraha vakya, it comes up to here. Viramasya pratyayaha. That is paravairagyam. Then paravairagyasya abhyasaha purvam yasya saha. That is that which requires as a prerequisite. That which requires the abhyasa, the practice of paravairagya as a prerequisite. So that is the whole thing. So the other asamprajnata samadhi is that which requires the practice of paravairagya as a prerequisite. That practice of paravairagya has to be there. It is a necessary thing. It is something which is a precondition. So this practice precedes this samadhi. Abhyasa purvaha means. So this precedes, abhyasa precedes, abhyasa precedes. So that is it. So this such practice precedes this samadhi, which is a prerequisite for the samadhi. Then the second adjective. Second adjective is samskara sheshaha. The mind remains in its potential state. That is, samskaras, only samskaras remain. All other things they just disappear. Only samskaras remain. And all other, here, of course, we have to see, in Vedanta, we use the word vasana kshayam, total eradication of all vasanas. In fact, total, if we see, total eradication of all vasanas is now, if totally all vasanas are eradicated, the man will not be able to identify his wife also. So certain basic samskaras are there, certain basic samskaras without the potential of sprouting up, without the potential of causing raga dvesha. So that is how we have to take samskara. Only samskara means all other samskaras relating to raga, dvesha, etc. they have disappeared. Raga, dvesha, etc. all those things have disappeared. Memory may still be there. Okay, so and so she is my wife, or he is my husband, etc. So certain basic things you don't forget the name of your friend, the old friend, let us say. So that these are the things. Samskara Sheshaha, this appears to be more meticulous than total Vasanakshaya. Total Vasanakshaya cannot take place. So Samskara Shesha, the mind remains just at its potential state. So that is what is the second level called Asampragnata Samadhi. So I hope you have understood this word called Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purvaha. Viramasya Pratyayaha, the kara, Pratyaya means karanam, the cause. The cause for cessation of all these vrittis is that Paravairagyam, and Paravairagyasya Abhyasaha. One has to practice this Paravairagya, and this practice of Paravairagya precedes this Asampragnata Samadhi. Asampragnata Samadhi is one which is preceded by the, this is a better word, which is preceded by. Asampragnata Samadhi is that which is preceded, I have written it also. It is something which is preceded by the practice of, let me see. This is the actual translation of the sutra. The other Samadhi, other means Anyaha is the other, that is Samadhi. The other Samadhi is that which is preceded by the practice of higher dispassion, Paravairagya, which is the cause for cessation of vrittis. And this is Samskara Shesha, that in which the mind remains in its latent state. That is just potential state. So all the samskaras, all the potential for mischief is gone. Potential for raga, dvesha, all these abhinivesha, all those things they have gone. It's just memory may be there, that's all. So this is the sutra. Then let us see the commentary. Sarva vritti pratyastamaye samskara shesho nirodhaha chittasya samadhihi asampragnataha. So sarva vritti pratyastamaya. Pratyastamaya means total disappearance. Suryastamaya, astamaya is the sunset. So like that sarva vrittinam pratyastamaya. That is all the vrittis, they just disappear. And in that samskara sheshaha, only samskaras they do remain. Samskaras again, nirbija, we are going to see that word also. Nirbija, we are going to see that thing also. Samskara sheshaha. Then samskara matra vasishtaha. That is what commentary says. So this only samskaras are there. So this type of nirodha, it is called chittasya, such samadhi, such chittasya samadhi. Chittasya samadhi means the mind which is in that particular state of absorption. Samadhi means a sort of absorption. When the mind is in that state of absorption, that is called asampragnataha. So that even the commentary is so terse. Even for the commentary, we have to do certain adhyahara. Even for the commentary, samadhi asampragnataha. So here this line is clear, I suppose. When the state of restraint of mind, in which there is cessation of all the vrittis, and in which mere latent impressions remain, that is what is called asampragnata. The second line is tasya param vairagyam upayaha. Tasya upayaha. For this samadhi, for this asampragnata samadhi, what is the upaya? The upaya is param vairagyam, that is higher dispassion, higher level of vairagya, not the lower level of vairagya. Salambano hi, salambanaha hi. I have not broken it here. Salambanaha hi abhyasaha tat sadhanaya na kalpate. Salambano abhyasaha. Suppose the lower level of vairagya is there, and also you are doing that sampragnata samadhi type. Sampragnata samadhi means you are doing some alambana, and then with that alambana in mind. When we say alambana, in that vitarka, I forgot one thing. I forgot to say one thing. That is vitarka. About vitarka, different commentators have commented different points. There, Vijnana Bhikshu, there is one important commentator called Vijnana Bhikshu who has written Yoga Vartika. He also says that vitarka can also mean contemplating on the physical features of, for example, Vishnu. So Vishnu with his 4 hands, and then all the ideas which are associated with Vishnu, or the ideas which are associated with Shiva symbolism, or ideas which are associated with Lalita symbolism. So these are all these pictures, they are symbolic in nature. All these things, they are symbolic in nature, isn't it? Vishnu having 4 hands and all that, Shankha Chakra Gada Hasta, etc. This is again symbolic. Then again Shiva seated on a bull. All these things, they are symbolic. Then again same Lalita seated on Lord Shiva. That is again symbolic. So all these symbolisms. So dwelling on that, and all the philosophy is translated into portrait there. Philosophy is translated as a picture. So dwelling on that, also he says like that because Vijnana Bhikshu belongs to the Bhakti tradition. So in fact, one commentator, that is Mr. Edwin Bryant, whose book I was showing, Edwin Bryant also belongs to he has adopted the Bhakti tradition. So anyway, he likes that way, he likes Vijnana Bhikshu. We can also accept it. There is nothing to reject Vijnana Bhikshu. So in that Savitarka Samadhi, that is contemplating on the grass, when we talk about grass, that grass can be grass bhutas, according to Vachaspati Mishra. But Vijnana Bhikshu also says that grass can be even any Devata Rupa. You can practice, you can concentrate on any Devata Rupa. Suppose you are doing Upasana of Hanuman, you are doing Upasana of Saraswati, you are doing Upasana of Ganesha, something like that. So that sort of Upasana, you are associated, all the philosophical ideas which are associated with that particular God. So you are contemplating on them and you are trying to identify, you are trying to acquire some strength, let us say, from that. So it is like that. So here, of course, we are now talking about asampragnata. We are talking about the higher level. Param vairagyam upaya, salambano hyabhyasaha. This abhyasa, which is salambana. Salambana means when you are having a focus, object of dhyaya vastu. Tat sadhanaya nakalpate. It is not fit. Nakalpate means it is not useful. It is not conducive. Tat sadhanaya. In order to achieve this asampragnata samadhi, having an alambana is of no use. Suppose you are trying to contemplate Omkara Dhyana. Omkara Dhyana is something like asampragnata only. Omkara, you are just contemplating on Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So that level of contemplation you are doing. When you are doing that, suppose you are doing some Anjaneya Upasana or some other Upasana, Hanumat Upasana or Saraswati Upasana or something. So you are having Saguna Sakara on one side and you are trying to have Nirguna Nirakara on some other side. They don't fit in. So that is what he says. Salambano hi abhyasaha tas sadhanaya nakalpate. It doesn't suit. Iti virama pratyayaha nirvastukaha alambani kriyate. Virama pratyayaha is what is this virama pratyaya? This paravairagya. Nirvastukaha. Nirvastukaha means where there is no vastu. There is no object of contemplation. That is object of dhyaya vastu. Let us say dhyaya vastu. So this virama pratyaya is now alambani kriyate means it is adopted. We should not say that this is another alambana. Alambani kriyate, we should not think that is another alambana. Alambani kriyate is you are adopting it. The virama pratyaya, that is higher vairagya, we are following it, and we are not following that lower level, that is vitarka, vichara, etc. We are not following it. We are following this other vairagya, where nirguna nirakara level. So that is what alambani kriyate. Is the time over? Maybe. Such a artha shunyaha. It has no object of contemplation. Maybe 1 or 2 lines only. We can complete. Artha shunyaha. It has no object of contemplation. Then tadabhyasa purvakam hi chittam niralambanam abhava praptamiva bhavati ityesha nirbija samadhi asampragnataha. So this asampragnata samadhi is also called nirbija samadhi, where that I was telling about the story of Rakta Bija. So where that vasana is there, that vasana again sprouts. So like that, it is now nirbija. A totally Dagdha Bijanyaya, Vedanta also calls it Dagdha Bijanyaya, where the seed has been roasted. It has no potential to sprout. So that abhyasa purvakam hi chittam. So the mind which has already practiced it, abhyasa purvakam means it has already, the mind which has already practiced it, that abhyasa purvakam. Chittam, niralambanam, where there is no alambana, where there is no vitarka, vichara, etc. Alambana is there, are not there. Niralambanam, abhava praptamiva bhavati. Abhava praptamiva means it looks as though totally abhava, totally absolutely non-existent. The mind also is appearing as though non-existent. Abhava praptamiva bhavati. Ityeshaha, nirpiya, this word I forgot to translate. I have to do this also. Bhavati ityesha. Nirbija samadhi asampragnataha. So this is what is called a seedless samadhi, also called asampragnata. So I am giving this words with Vedanta also for maybe for your convenience, for somebody who has some idea of Vedanta. So see, he will relate. For a person who totally does not know Vedanta also, maybe it will be some use, it will be of some use to know that there is some parallel between this and yoga and Vedanta. So this is how this Nirbija Samadhi. For this Nirbija Samadhi, is there anything more here in this commentary? This Nirbija Samadhi, yeah, for this Nirbija Samadhi, this gentleman says, Tattva Vaisharadi Vachaspati Mishra says, Nirbijaha Niralambanaha Athava Bijam Klesha Karma Ashayaha Te Nishkranta Yasmat. So he says, Vachaspati Mishra says, Bijam means Klesha Karma Ashayaha Te Nishkranta. So this means all these kleshas, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, etc. Their vasanas which are there in the mind, all those vasanas have been eradicated. All those negative vasanas have been eradicated. Totally neutral, harmless memories are there in the mind. So that is how. So that is Nirbija Samadhi. Hence it is called Nirbija, which cannot cause a sprouting up of all those anger, hate, etc. So that is what is called Asamprajnata Samadhi. So we will stop here. If there are any questions, let us see.
Thank you, sir. Sumiji is asking, sir, why is it mentioned as Chatushtaya Anugata when Vitarka is being mentioned as only 3 meditation types remain Vichara, Ananda and Asmita?
Yeah, Chatushtaya means all the 4 are in that. Vitarka, all the 4 are in that, only that in that sense. Vitarka is something which does not exclude all other things. Yeah, Pratamaha, Chatushthayanugataha. Chatushtayam, that means, like I said, Dushta Chatushtayam, all the 4. Chatushthayanugataha, that first one, it is associated with all the 4. So in that way we have to take. The first one is associated with all the 4. Not only Vitarka. The first one, which is not only, that is Avitarka, not only associated with Vitarka, but also associated with other 3. He could have told that also other 3 that he could have told. But the different way of saying Chatushthayanugata is the first one is associated with all the 4. So that way. It does not say remaining 4. That is it.
Pujaji is asking for, sir, can you please share the Word document with translation that you used to teach us? They are very good to refer.
They are very
good to refer.
Okay, I can translate. In fact, I want to bring out a book also. Now that I am teaching, I will also put a book. I don't mind sharing it. I'll mail it to you so that you can send to them. I'll mail it to you. You can. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sure. And Sumiti ji is also truly appreciate the effort you have spent in giving Bhashya translation parallel with Vedanta and pictorial depiction.
Yes, that is what. In fact, when this was prescribed for our MA long ago when I studied MA. But during MA, I just wrote without knowing anything. But right now, when I am trying to teach, so I am also trying to. At that time, when I studied MA, I did not know much of Vedanta apart from Vedanta Sara. So now that I have studied some Vedanta, I am able to see some parallels. So so that is the experience now. So it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Shiv Kumar ji is saying, sir, comparing with Vedanta and Yoga Sutra makes the class very interesting and easy to assimilate. Sir, how to meditate on subtle elements? Yeah,
that probably we have to actually go to somebody who is a practicing yogi. Because practicing yogis, for example, they teach guided meditation. So when you sit in a guided meditation class, for example, I will just refer to our Tattvavidananda's guided meditations. So Tattvavidananda's guided meditations, he usually starts with Panchabhuta meditation. Then thereafter Indriya Dhyana. So subtle elements of course come much earlier. Indriya Dhyana. So subtle elements, again contemplating that they are in their Tanmatra state only, where they are just there and then they are not even, Tanmatra is only another equivalent of sense organs only. Tanmatra is another equivalent of sense organs only. That is the mother of sense organ, we can say. So that sort of thing. Maybe we have to think more on that. Maybe we have to see a practicing yogi who are actually doing all these practices.
Thank you, sir. I think there are no other questions.
Okay,
They're all thanking you for.
Thank you. Hari Om. That's it.
Namaskar. Sir. Thank you.